That's it. Literally, I screwed on that light bulb like 40 minutes ago. I usually got to give it time until it lights up. It usually takes like 2 minutes. But I forgot about it. It's been like 20 minutes. And then now that I started, we're like spinning, yeah. But now that I started speaking, it started flashing. I looked up what flashing lights mean. They have a significance. Um, just confirmations. All of these. Any synchronicity is just a confirmation. If you gotten familiar with synchronicities, then you would know they all ultimately have one thing in common, and it's just a confirmation from a higher source, angels or ancestors or uh, spirit guides, or ascended masters, or a higher intelligence, advanced. But it's from a higher realm of consciousness that you're tapping into, and it's just confirming it to you. The access gates, the portals open. You know, interact with it. I guess this is what this video is going to be about: synchronicities. I know a lot of people see 333s and 444s and 222s and 1111s. Some people have their own little specific numbers that they see which they're not repeated. They're like 153 or 319 or 1217. It's a specific number that's it's just more rarer to see it versus like a 333 or 222 444, like a jambalaya number. Those might have a deeper significance to you, but they all overall just let you know that you're either at the right place at the right time. You're thinking about the right thoughts that you're supposed to be thinking of. You're tapped into the universal state of mind. Higher consciousness. You're tapped into your higher self. Just confirming. There's some people laughing out there. Joy, be joyful. In whatever sense that is. To me, being joyful at this stage in life is just being grateful. I may not exude the biggest laughters like when we were kids, or jumping, running. That's expressing joy. Uh, my sense of joy now as a more older human, it's just expression of gratitude through being being in a state of gratitude. I don't necessarily have to speak it anymore. Deep down within, once you're in tune with your energetic frequency, which is your emotional state, you tend to be more in tune with what you're feeling and be intentional with what you want to feel versus letting the world or the outside or the 3D or the physical experience dictate how you feel and influence how you feel. You get in tune with yourself and you choose how you feel regardless of if there's any physical monetary lack or financial depression or um, relationships outside of you that might be negative. They don't influence how you feel. You choose how you feel now. So, and you take charge of your life. Just coming back to yourself, whether it's through meditation, listening to music, just clearing your mind in an empty, in a silent room. Come back down to yourself and feel that state of presence, and then you dictate and choose from there where you want to go. And then once you go, you'll get confirmations and synchronicities letting you know that you're at the right state of frequency, you're at the right state of mind, you're at the right place physically. Keep going, keep listening to that nudge or that voice that you come down to when you're clear the noise, you clear the clutter, you clear the energetic attachments like depression, hate, envy, wickedness, anything that's negative and was like an influence of the world. And you come back to your natural state, which our natural state when we were childs and when we're born into this world is love, harmony, frequency, calmness. Anything that's like wicked or spiteful, or it's like a little dark or edgy, that's not pure. So just come back to your sense of purity and then go from there. Transmute your energy. If you're going through these negative energies, negative influences, betrayal, backstabbing, hurt, which is what ultimately sometimes leads you from that pure state to reactive mode. They bring you down into this reactive mode. Transmit that energy into something pure, something constructive, something beneficial for the atmosphere, for the earth, for your soul, for your growth. Transmute it into self-love. The physical sense of self-love would be drink more water, eat healthier foods, do things that are good for your physical body. Listen to more motivational music versus the music that you might like, but it keeps you in that certain state of frequency. you know what songs tend to bring you to your certain element, and then what other songs kind of like lift you up higher and liberate you. You know, you might listen to these songs to get you in the element, but they're good for explosiveness and explosiveness. And it just stayed on now. As soon as I said explosiveness. But you know, you might have those tracks where they get you into that explosiveness and you make and you work out and it gets you going and these things, but then there's a higher frequency that you want to go to. And then certain tracks might not do that, you know, depending on if you can transcend regardless. Like, you know, like I could even me at this stage, I listen to turn up certain musics that just turn me up and they're good for getting me out of a low frequency. But once I'm at a frequency where it's like, okay, I'm content, I'm kind of joyful, or it brought me back to myself, you know, I'm ready for the new track. I'm ready for the new track that kind of like I created, or taking it up a notch. It might not be a certain style that brings out that explosiveness, but it takes me beyond that. So certain things have their own certain roles in this process of growth in life. Every day is a new stage of growth. As long as you tap back into yourself and you keep adding and developing to that growth. Um, and you'll know when you're back tapped into yourself because me personally, the universe sends me synchronicities and I see them and observe them and notice them only when I'm in the present moment, only when I've decluttered my mind from toxicness or from distractions or depressions, or when I come out of survival mode and I come back into the present moment, sometimes intentionally or unintentionally, subconsciously, that's when I notice them. That's when I notice these frequencies. So it made me realize and understand that I only get these messages, or I probably do get these messages regardless all the time, but I only notice them and I'm only aware of them when I'm synchronistically aligned to that higher frequency, when I'm energetically tapped into that type of frequency, and it's just the natural state of life. It's just a natural state of frequency. So it's you're basically transmuting or changing your frequency channel to the universal channel. So now you're picking up on those signals. Same thing like with a radio. If you're in 95.3 and then you change your channel to 103.5, then you're gonna get the 103.5 radio station. And you're gonna hear that station. It's not 95 point something. It's not gonna interfere with this. If you change it, then what's coming out of the speakers is going to be 95.3 now. It's whatever channel you're dialed into. That was really my first analogy of frequency when I first started being aware of frequency, like a radio station or transmitter with like antennas. Excuse me. And whatever frequency you choose to dial or tune into is what you'll receive. So you're a transmitter and then you receive. And I'm guessing that when you're in survival mode, it's the contrary. You're more like a receiver. And you're still a transmitter, yeah, but you're more like on autopilot. You're receiving more of the outer exterior experience because you're not being directive. You're not being intentional. You're not focusing your intentions. You're not being uh uh instead of being receptive, you're not being directive. You know what I'm saying? You're not transmitting. There you go. You're not transmitting, so you're being more of a receiver. Even though we're always transmitting subconsciously at a certain level, but that's usually what we get back. We get back what we're transmitting. So if we're not really being aware, if we're not conscious of what we're giving out, like our thoughts, you know, control how we feel, and then what we feel is our frequency. Your feelings are your frequency. That's your energy. So what if you're not conscious of what you're feeling and what you're constantly, continuously giving out, then you're just gonna get that subconscious clutter that's in your mind. So you'll just attract it in a physical experience as a clutter. Let's say clutter, for example, will probably reflect itself back. Clutter in your mind will probably reflect itself back into real life, as in like a car accident or losing money or fake friends, and or you wouldn't know what's what or whatever. But when you clear your mind and you clear everything that you need to clear within yourself, such as your friendships, your the people that you grew up with, or your circumstances, your business, your life, your work. When you fix and put these things down and write them and have an agenda and have a clear action plan, and then you start living it, you get a sense of clarity. So that clutter, you get clarity, and then I feel like clarity is what gives me security into whatever next step I'm gonna take in life, because I have clarity. Rather than trying to take a step with a cluttered mind, it's just gonna make you doubt any little step because you're not clear on going. Same thing, vice versa. When I got a good sense of security or a good strong support system, or I have a good foundation under me, it clears that clutter out of my head because you give me enough security, gives me time to bring clarity. But just have that clarity, and then when you have that clarity, it's real easier to access that gratitude state of feeling that's naturally just there when you take all the physical influences out, because anything we have lived in life and experience is just a physical influence onto our sense of being. But when we come back to the fact that we are a soul, an infinite soul that came to this physical body to have a physical experience, you don't have to no longer be in receptive mode as to what this world made you feel and all the heartbreaks and all the setbacks and all the failures in your physical experience. You declutter that, come back to your traumas, fix that. All these regrets and worries and things that you felt like you never accomplished at certain times, all these expectations and physical experiences that molded the way you feel. Declutter that, get that out, and come back to your sense of being. And you come back to being grateful because you're alive. First of all, you have freedom. You're alive and you're free. You're alive and you're free. You have air. You have this sense of understanding about yourself and life. That gives you enough to just be grateful for life in itself. You no longer have to look to be inspired or look to be grateful. I'm trying to be grateful because I know that you don't have to try to do that. You just remove anything else that's contrary to that, and you'll just come back to your natural state. When you come back to your natural state, you'll see those synchronicities again. That's when you know you're tapped in again. That's when you know you're aligned again. That's when you know you're grounded again. That's when you know you're centered. That's when you know you're radiating at a high frequency. If you want to take it up a higher notch after you come back to your natural state, just bring it up, raise your frequency, be intentional with the energy you give out, and you'll see you'll not only just start getting synchronicities, but then you'll get physical experiences that match your internal being. Cheers to that. Cheers to being in creator mode and creating the life and the reality that you want and that your soul urges to experience, your desires materializing in the physical world based off you fixing your internal and bringing it back to the high frequency, and then getting those confirmations back through friendships, opportunities, real friendships, real soul tribe that match with your soul being, that match with your truth. Experiences, situations, opportunities, great experiences, great situations, not just any, but ones that match your high expectancy of greatness and truth and honesty, integrity, relationships full of integrity, opportunities, and even some physical things. You might run into money physically, or an opportunity that reflects back that amount of money, or friendships, or a love that matches that sense of fulfillment that love that you're giving yourself. You radiate at that already, and that's how life mirrors it. That's where the law of attraction comes into play. It's not just that. You do that internal healing, not just affirmations and having visual boards, but then the rest of your day you're at a low frequency because your internal doubt is just stronger than these little pictures. So it's not just the law of attraction. It's not just having vision boards. It's not just affirmations. It's not just lying to yourself in the mirror for 10 minutes and not believing that because you know that this is what you're supposed to do to manifest. No, you do all these other things that have nothing to do with the law of attraction, all this healing, all this internal healing from this physical programming of human experience. That's when they say break out of the matrix, but people don't even understand. It got so cliche. Oh my God, life is a matrix, and it just got so cliched. People just whatever. Yeah, we're in a matrix, but it's not about that. It's deeper than just the matrix. It's deeper than the law of attraction. It's deeper than a religion. It's deeper than just the new facade or the new trend for self-improvement or self-healing. It's deeper than all of these things. They all have to do, and they all play a specific role in the whole. But if you just simplify it and come back to your childlike self, like the Christian Bible says, to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must come back to being a child. That's a whole deeper story. But the kingdom of heaven is just coming up into your higher consciousness, your higher state of awareness, higher state of being. That's why Christ was given that title, Jesus Christ. His name is not Christ, his name is Jesus, or Yahweh, whatever y'all still want to call him. I'm not here for that. But the Christ was a title. Like my dad's name is his name, but he is my father, and he is, I can't say he's Christ, but Jesus was Jesus. He was a carpenter, and by him having a higher state of consciousness, they added the label Christ. That's what Christ means. Christ just means a higher state of consciousness. So that wasn't really his name. That was the title they gave him. It's Christ, and we all have Christ consciousness. We all can experience heaven on earth by just coming into a higher sense of being, a higher frequency, which is what I've been talking into this video. Just get out of your way, heal your traumas, release all them expectancies that were placed upon you, or you placed upon yourself in this life as you were growing up, the things that molded you into being this person, all these physical things. Just take them out to the side, come back to the sense of self, of who you really are, what you really love, what is your true intentions, what is your, it's not hard. It's just coming to the realization that we are source. We come from source. We come from light. If you want to if you want to read the Bible, it says that in the Bible as well. again, life is not just about being religious. It's not about being a certain religion. It's not about being just a astrologist or being just a law of attraction guru, or just, it's all of these things have truth to them. They say the truth be hidden in plain sight. It's like that. It just is. Um, but it's up to you as a soul, as an infinite soul that came into this physical body. This physical body is very limited by what we know, because we start as a baby and then we only know as much as our parents, our physical parents, and the schooling system teaches us. But before that, we were an infinite soul that didn't want to come here to experience created this created matrix that was created for us, this created programming that was already created for us. As soon as we come here, we go to school, and then we go to, it's set up for you. You're an infinite soul that came into this physical body, and it just wants to come back to itself. It wants to come back to the understanding of itself. But your physical body was taken off of its own little soul growth journey, and your energy was redirected onto other things, like the validations of your parents, going to school, the school system, what I learned there, all these sports that I want to play now, or the girlfriends now. And by the time you discover who you are, life done bombarded you with all these distractions that make you take your love that you're supposed to be placing into yourself, this understanding of truth of who we are that we're supposed to be putting into ourselves, and we place it on other things like school and sports, like hobbies. These are all physical experiences that we're adding our attention to. And you could have a life, if you care to have a life at this point, but or if you're blinded enough by life, you might not want to seek this truth because it feels comfortable. The 3D feels comfortable, but for a true soul searcher, or a person who has all these things, and it's still like, I accomplish all these monetary things, or I have that relationship, I have that perfect couple relationship, I have a good relationship with my parents, or I but you still feel like empty or confused or lost. It's just your soul wanting to come back to the understanding of who it really is, which is an infinite light source. Before you came into this physical body, you were an infinite light source. You came into your physical body, but you're always infinite. You have this physical body that moves because we have a brain. But inside our brain, if you want to look at other videos going more in depth, inside our brain, our soul dwells right there. Our soul is our whole sense of being, but we're an infinite soul before we go into this physical body. There's other videos that could break down and go more in depth, but the whole point is that your soul just yearns to come back to the understanding of self realization, and no one else's validation is going to fill that void, or no experience in life. You could become a millionaire and have all these things, and you're still going to feel this emptiness because you don't know physically what it is that you're looking for, but your soul knows, and your soul nudges you and urges you. Your soul sends you synchronicities for you to question and understand. But our physical body, we're just so caught up in this 3D physical body that we don't snap and put everything to the side, come back to ourselves, quiet down, come back to our sense of self, our sense of self, the soul that we are before we came here, that basks in the back as an observer. None of this physical stuff. We're just coming back into our soul. That gives you the liberation that you need from any physical expectation or validation or any love outside of yourself that you're putting onto other people and expecting back from other people, or circumstances or situations or opportunities. It doesn't define, it doesn't fill you up or drain you any less. You realize that you're an infinite higher higher being than just this physical plane, and that in itself, that alone, liberates me from any exterior influence that might shake up or rattle my own self sense of being. You can't shake that up anymore once you realize the true sense of self, once you realize the truth of self, once you have that true self realization as who we really are, then you're liberated. The truth sets you free. um I let the video go on. I just let the video go on, but I went a little deeper than just synchronicities. I'll tap back in for you guys. Um, these are not feel good videos. If you feel great after them, cool. These are not quick dosages of motivation and inspiration, and then you still feel lost 2 3 days later. This is hopefully key moments in your whole life of years of existence. Hopefully these videos are key, pivotal moments in your whole grand scheme of existence, where it was like a before and after of your life when you see these videos, not just one in the thousands of self-help and motivational videos that you see. Because I'm hoping that I'm connecting with souls in a tribe that reflects where I'm at in life. And I don't just hope for it. I know, because your vibe attracts your tribe, and ultimately that's how life is. But you know, you in the algorithm, you still might have those that are just, you know, still eating baby food, which I'm here for as well. Um, but I'm in a stage in life as a whole, energetically, emotionally, where I feel free, I feel liberated, uh, because of a specific reason, and it's because of the realization of self. I am liberated because the truth of self, not because of a religion, not because of a relationship that I was in, not because of any monetary or financial situation in my life that came out of nowhere and blessed me. I'm still living the regular life. um, uh, yeah, I'm still here just like y'all. Just got hired at a 9 to 5, which I don't physically want to do it because it's not within my soul. But I'm living in this 3D world, and there's physical things that you need to survive, while your physical reality reflects how you internally feel, which is just a rich person. You still have these little physical things, like physical food that you might have to eat, or a physical rent for a room, for a shelter, so you're not outside and you're not cold, so you need to pay for that, so you need this physical job to do that. So you do those things in the meantime, because that's the 3D world that our physical body dwells in. But our soul, which is higher than that, and it creates all of our realities, my soul, it's in a higher frequency right now, and I can see life reflecting these things. So I'm just moving the little physical pieces I have to right now. But I'm just like y'all. I say that to say that I'm just like y'all. I want y'all to understand that this is coming from a down to earth regular person. I'm not a rich millionaire who decided to open a page and say, "Hey, look, it's easy," but everything was handed down to you, and you're just saying things that you learned, but not applied and seen. So um, I see. I see the reflections. I see the confirmations on a daily, times a thousand, times a thousand. Especially when I'm intentional with how I want to go about my day. When I'm intentional about what I'm going out into the world to see. I'm intentional with what I am seeking and what I am hearing. You know, I'm intentional with the frequency I'm radiating at overall. And then as I step out there, I receive literally a reflection of everything I'm internally feeling. And some things take time, which I personally hate hearing. I'm an impatient person, and I'm a Taurus, a bull. So you know how impatient we are, and we're stubborn, I guess. Um, but me, out of all people, I've always hated patience. I've always hated stagnation. But I'm realizing that it gives you this truth also gives you a sense of fulfillment along the way, and a sense of joy as you have to wait for these things to happen, because you're doing other things that you love in the meantime. So you never feel a sense of boredom or a sense of, oh my God, is it gonna, because you let go of the desperation of restraint and hurry up and happen, or survival mode. I needed to do something now. You know it works for you. You know reality is a reflection of what you feel, and then you'll get small confirmations that will make you feel great along the way. It will make you feel great along the way while you wait, or these bigger manifestations take their time because they're bigger manifestations. So you can bask in the small minor ones as you go, but that should be enough, at least for me, to feel a sense of freedom and a sense of security in knowing that there is a real mechanism out there that aligns and attached. You know, it's just life. Life just is. This is just how life works. You know, there's no, you know, like you can figure out the mechanisms, but it's not like oh, I'm gonna make it work for me, how I just kind of explained it. But you don't go about it in that way. You just are. And that's why I say all the mechanisms are good, law of attraction and all these other things. um and affirmations and understanding quantum physics, that's all one thing. But when you do the genuine healing process, the traumatic stuff, the physical things that you went through and were instilled in you, knowing all this knowledge doesn't do nothing, and it doesn't work if you don't heal yourself first. And there's no videos about that. There's no videos about self-healing as far as specific things that get in your way. About all of these people just tell you do this, you know, which is true. All of these things are the right mechanisms to attract, you know. But in order for things to get here, you have to ultimately really fix your internal energy and feeling. And they don't talk about that. They talk about radiating at that frequency that you need to so you can manifest your reality. But they don't talk about the importance or mention the key point of healing certain things first. You can't have two things dwelling at the same time. It's just really hard. It's impossible. You might have 1 hour of positive affirmations, high frequency feeling, and then the next 23 hours are just low frequency because that's your core. So ultimately, you're like, well, I meditated for an hour and I did my confirmations, but it's not about that. It's about how you're constantly radiating on a 24/7 basis, and whichever one you're resonating at is ultimately what you're gonna attract. Not just having 1 hour a day of just abundance feeling, and then you go, no. If you meditate for an hour in a day, which that's great, then that should be strong enough for you to go out into the world and have that integrated. And I mean, you don't just go from 20 years of suffering and being low frequency and then have one meditation for 1 hour and then everything changed. If you have an epiphany or understanding or self-realization, then those are the climax points of before and after that does things for you, like hopefully videos like this. But if you don't ultimately heal heal things that are the ones that bring you back down when you have your little hour of meditation. Or, oh my God, I saw all these videos about law of attraction and frequency, I'm gonna apply them. And then you apply them for an hour, and then you come out of that meditation zone, and then the rest of your time you're like at a low frequency. That's these things right here that they're still bringing you down, because you know this, which is on a logic and on a brain level. You know this information and knowledge, which is great to have. But this is where your power resides, your heart. This is where your energy is. This is where you give out everything that you're emitting. You know, everything you radiate, all your frequency is your feeling, your emotion. It's an energetic frequency vibration. So if you haven't fixed this, which is the healing and the traumas and the things that you're still hurt about, people did you certain ways, and you still have to grow up so you can prove them wrong. All these things, hate, jealousy, envy, betrayal, backstab, past relationships, as far as couples or boyfriend and girlfriend, or old friendships, or situations, or things you told yourself, like every time I try something, it never works out, or everything. You have to break. You once you heal, come back to yourself and heal all these specific things. Look at them for what they are. Come to the realizations that everything in life that happened to you was just a reflection of how you were unconsciously radiating at. Then you realize that everything that has happened to you in your life has just been a reflection of yourself. It's just been a reflection of everything that you created down until this moment. Once you understand that, you get this realization and this freedom, because you know that now anything from now on is going to be a reflection of how you feel intentionally, what you desire, which has always been like that, but now you're conscious of it. So now you'll have different realities. Now you'll have changes in your reality. And if you just started changing your frequency, then you'll start seeing these realities start changing in minor little ways, or even in major ways, depending on how strong your force is. This is what liberates you. That in itself should be just enough to liberate you. Knowing that you create your reality, despite and regardless of anything you've been through in the past, being stuck in trauma, or being stuck in survival mode, or being stuck in hurt mode. When you genuinely heal that, and when you genuinely realize that you are the creator of everything that has happened to you, that comes to you, and that you encounter is a reflection of how you're subconsciously radiating at 24/7, that liberates you, because you know that now you have control of the game. Now you have the remote in your hands. Now you're the controller of your reality. That should liberate you from any stresses of incoming chaos or incoming trouble. There isn't any, because you know that you're consciously creating your reality now. So it just automatically liberates you from any doubts, any scaredness, any fear, even of death. That just goes right out once you realize that you're infinite source, you're infinite light. They came into this physical body. It's biology, it's science, it's this physical body. But before that, we were just an infinite being of light. They came into this physical body, which this physical body as well, when you trace it back down to matter, into its root particle, it was just a beam of light in itself too. So physically and energetically, we just trace back to light. This is where our this is the epitome of where both worlds collide. A human experience, physical and spiritual, collide because of us.